There was once a young warrior who traveled far and wide in search of wisdom. He had heard tales of an ancient sage who lived deep in the forests, a man whose wisdom was said to rival that of the gods themselves. This sage, it was said, could answer any question and unravel the mysteries of life. Determined to learn from him, the warrior braved storms, wild animals, and treacherous paths until he finally found the sage meditating beneath a giant banyan tree. The warrior, though courageous, carried the weight of his many battles. His mind was filled with the noise of victory, defeat, anger, and doubt. He bowed respectfully and asked the sage, "Master, I have fought countless battles, conquered lands, and yet I find no peace. My mind is restless. Teach me how to find clarity." The sage opened his eyes and smiled. Without speaking a word, he picked up an earthen pot beside him and motioned for the warrior to follow. They walked to a nearby river, where the sage began filling the pot with water. He filled it until it overflowed, water spilling from its sides. The warrior, puzzled, asked, "Why are you wasting the water, master?" The sage stopped and turned to the warrior. "This pot," he said, "is like your mind. It is full of victories, defeats, desires, doubts. When it is this full, there is no room for anything else. Tell me, if I try to pour the nectar of wisdom into this pot, will it hold it?" The warrior shook his head, beginning to understand. "No, master. It will spill out." The sage continued, "To receive wisdom, you must first empty your mind, just as this pot must be emptied before it can hold something new. An overflowing mind is burdened by its contents. Release your attachment to them, your fears, your pride, your anger, and only then will you create space for clarity and peace." The warrior stood silently, watching the ripples of the river. The sage then gestured to the water and said, "The river flows not because it clings to the past, but because it lets go. Be like the river. Let go of what weighs you down." This struck the warrior deeply. He realized his restlessness stemmed not from the battles he fought, but from his inability to let go of their memories and expectations. He sat beside the sage, closed his eyes, and for the first time allowed his thoughts to drift away like leaves carried by the current. Weeks passed, and when the warrior returned to the world, he was no longer burdened by the chaos of his mind. He carried the lesson with him, sharing it with others, telling them, "The greatest battles are fought within, and the greatest victories come when we empty our minds and let peace flow through." To this day, the banyan tree by the river stands, a silent witness to the moment when a warrior learned to become still, and in that stillness discovered the essence of life.